Hi everyone, this is Lucas Mack, and welcome to another episode of the Golden Rule Revolution, where inspiration and purpose come from treating people like people and nothing less. Today, I have two guests on the podcast simultaneously, and these two beautiful brothers they're not brothers, blood brothers, but they are brothers, soul brothers to each other and to myself. One country singer and one emotional intelligence leader who teamed up to bring this beautiful podcast episode to the world. I'm so excited to share this episode. It's just beautiful. And if this resonates with you, I hope you follow Zach and Kyle afterwards. You're going to hear their story. I will put the link to the music and all that in the show notes. And let's get started. Well, my brothers, Kyle and Zach, thank you so much for joining the Golden Rule Revolution. How you guys doing this morning?
You're awesome, Lucas. So good, man.
Yeah, this is so. Everyone listening, this is my first time having multiple people on as guests at the same time, and could not have two better, beautiful souls join me. Zach, why don't you give an explanation of how you and I met, and then how you and Kyle met, and what you both are creating in the world. And then Kyle, I'll let you jump in too. But Zach, why don't you take it away first?
Perfect. Yeah, Lucas, just, man, we were introduced by a mutual friend, and it was just immediate. You know, I think when you meet someone, especially another guy, a brother that just is so heart-centered and just cares so much and isn't trying to overcompensate or be someone that they're not, you can just feel it. You can feel it immediately, and I felt it with you. So immediate brotherhood and just someone I know that I could trust, I could confide in, I could be with, that would hold me accountable, like all of the things that I look for in good friendships. And so that was how we met. And, since then, it's just, you've been, just been a complete light in my life. And I love every time we get to connect. We just pick up right where we start off. And
totally.
We're always like so honest about everything that's happening. It's amazing.
It is so awesome. I'll never forget where I was when you and I talked on the phone. I'm like, man, who is this beautiful soul? And Michael, who introduced us, Michael Malacker, shout out to you, brother.
Yes.
Another just incredible,
amazing man.
Oh, amazing man.
So
There's, you know what's cool, and it got actually before I jump in, because I can start taking us on tangents. Kyle, why don't you introduce yourself, who you are, brother, and how you and Zach got connected?
Yeah, my name is Kyle Stallons, and I am I'm a Texan that's been embraced by some really awesome folks over on the West Coast. And I met Zach through a leadership training program known as Ascension Leadership Academy. And just through that, man, we really became close, and just been an amazing guy for me to connect with and learn from, and, man, just build a friendship with.
I love it, man. I love it. So we got three guys on a podcast who've all gone through ALA. And I reference everyone listening, I've referenced ALA maybe almost every episode, but I refer to it as the emotional intelligence leadership training that I took, which is called Ascension Leadership Academy. And for me, I had a born again experience down there, and that is being said from my first person, someone that I've been a preacher, I led ministry, I've done all sorts of things, and I remember being, I'm just going to take us down tangents, so prepare yourself, guys. But I remember being in church growing up as a kid, and people say, they talk about heaven and hell, Jesus loves you. If you don't accept Jesus into your heart, you're going to go to hell. And so I remember, like, multiple times, man, like, I don't want to go to hell. I mean, if you give that proposition to someone, hello, do you want to go to heaven or do you want to go to hell? Wow, I don't want to go to hell. I want to go to heaven. All right, well, this is what you got to do to go to heaven. You got to ask Jesus in your heart. So, man, year after year, I'd go to summer camps. I'd go to this, and I wasn't sure if I was really saved. I was so afraid I was going to go to hell. So, like, every time, like, ask Jesus in my heart, ask Jesus in my heart. Growing up in Christianity and religion, then the argument was, can you lose your salvation or can you not lose your salvation? Then this is a bigger problem. I'm like, wait a minute. So I've been asking, did Jesus come into my heart all these times? And now, wait, can I lose it? Can I not? And I got clear and settled that you cannot, but what you're actually gaining in the first place is probably a false premise. What I bring all this up to say, I have referenced many times on this podcast that I had a true born again experience down at ALA. For the very first time in my life, experienced unconditional love from people that didn't judge me. They didn't want to like corral me into a way of thinking, or, oh, you got to do this to be this, or if you don't accept this, we can't have you in our club. It was just tell the ugly truth of your life, man, and get it out of you, and don't let anything reside in you. And I remember going down there, and I think I scared everyone because I went hard in the paint. The whole program got a little shook up. Oh, but I'll never forget. I'll never forget having that moment where, for the very first time in my life, I felt like I could breathe, and that was the moment I knew, whoa, this is life. This is oxygen. This is whoa. And so anyway, just affirming that we're all three on that, and it's such a beautiful program, and I'm so glad to have you guys on. Wow, that's how we're gonna start this this episode.
Dropping in.
Hey man, let's get after it. So what a journey, and all three of us to even get on this podcast together. I mean, Zach, I know a little bit about your journey of your life, and I do want to hear it. And Kyle, I don't know too much about your journey. However, I have heard, and everyone listening, we're going to put the link to Zach and Kyle. But Kyle is an incredible singer-songwriter, and he has that smooth Texas drawl when he sings. You get a little George Strait, little Pat Green, all, you know. But truly beautiful singer-songwriter, man. And just when I heard your music, I'm like, oh, this guy's singing at a soul level. This isn't pop music. This is soul music.
Straight from the heart.
So beautiful. Great. Yeah. So, I mean, let's talk about it. Zach, first of all, why don't you talk about your experience first meeting Kyle and yeah, just, I don't know, let's go. This, and for everyone listening, this is my first time having multiple people on. So, you know, we want to direct the streams of conversation, but Zach, why don't you talk about your experience in meeting Kyle?
Yeah. I'd love to. So I'm a mindset and business coach, and I work with individuals and entrepreneurs and corporations at heart-led leadership, connection, culture creation. And I met Kyle. I was what they call captaining. So I was leading one of the classes through ALA, and I met Kyle as he was coming through, and just saw it in his eyes. Like just saw the heart and the fun and the lightness and how committed he was to being the fullest version of himself. Like there was nowhere that Kyle wouldn't go to be that. And he cared so much about other people deeply. But like so many of us, myself included, I think we put personal limitations on ourselves. Yeah. You know, we both start to believe that we have these limits, and we start to believe these stories that we created throughout our life and in the experiences that we've had. And so I got to witness Kyle just stepping right up to those, step into that edge and looking them straight in the eyes and seeing who he wanted to be and not holding back at all. And I knew immediately that this was a guy that I was gonna be with and I was gonna have in my life for a long time. And that's how Kyle and I really met. And I've just thoroughly enjoyed all the time that I've got to spend with him. And especially now as he's stepping into, you know, having a really successful career in Nashville as a country singer, but now stepping in and singing about his life experiences and about so many things. I think people deeply need to hear, like they need to have the permission to know that the things that we've felt and that we've experienced, we're not alone in feeling those. Like there's got to be more. Like this can't be it. This can't totally be the way that it is. And he's like giving permission now through his music by singing about his experience and singing from his heart. And I'm so inspired by it. And I think it's incredible. So that's, you know, and I'm doing everything that I possibly can to further unlock that for Kyle. and just it's amazing.
What did you, or when did you first hear Kyle's music, and then what resonated with you?
So I heard Kyle's music because he would sing sometimes as we were going through the process, and he had an amazing voice, and he was also just such an entertainer, like just so light and fun and easy to be around. And then as we started to spend more time together, and we started to talk about, let's start to sing and unlock the things in you that you're feeling and the experiences and evolution that you're having right now. So then I got to hear that, and I got to see him start to really dive into that. And that for me, I'm just seeing, wow, this is a whole new way and genre of things that we can talk about that are real issues, and we can express them through art.
Yes, dude, that is so beautiful. And brother Kyle, this I didn't even realize until this very moment, but I'm wearing this T-shirt for you.
There you go.
Hey,
there it is.
Lukenbach, Texas, baby. I've been there more times, so many times. I'd go there drinking my Lone Star beer, listening to guys who kicking those guitars for years, man. And I love there's something about Texas music, and the reason I reference Pat Green and George Strait, because they're both those Texas singers, but there is a lost art of storytelling that's happened in music. Music has become so repetitive and with hooks and loops, but the great storytellers, the Willie Nelsons, the Waylon Jennings, the Chris Christophersons, the Highwaymen genre, the George Jones, the guys that could tell the most painful truth in such a velvet way that you're like, whoa, okay, that's the powerful stuff. And I think Chris Stapleton's doing it in a new genre, and your music that I'm listening to that Zach sent me is in that vein. It's again, but I want to hear from you and your take on music, but also it's in a vein that the old time storytellers who I love, I mean, I'm a red-blooded American man, and I love people. I love freedom. I love life. That said, all those old great storytellers were writing at a very real but not deep soul. It was almost like the physical body's journey, but not talking too much about the emotional body, the soul journey. Dylan would step in once in a while and touch it, but pop back out. And you're starting to write soul music. Tell me your journey, man, and how you got to where you are, coming from Texas and country music to infusing the two.
Yeah, I mean, to kind of piggyback what I understand, those songs, they mean so much, and storytelling is definitely an art form. And what I've kind of discovered really recently is allowing that true emotion, that unedited, unfiltered lyric to just be the lyric.
Yeah.
And not color it, not, shy away from it, and go, wherever that uncomfortable feeling is, just let that be the message. Cliches aren't the best way to write songs, but there's plenty of cliches out there that when you frame it in a new light or shift it around, it carries a ton of weight. But my story, when I grew up here, native Texan, played football, baseball, went to church. When you were saying about your upbringing in church, I mean, man, I'm 100 on the brainwave with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Grew up doing the whole, I mean, we were in church all the time, and had an amazing, childhood, and got a great family, and learned a ton through that life. And yeah, I was definitely passionate about football. And then, as I kind of got ready to go to college, I was like, music I did both of them. And then really about 15 or 16 years of age, music really took over. And it just kind of just became that place where I went to heal, and I didn't realize it. And so as a young man, not having a ton of not having a ton of emotional intelligence, I'll just say it, finding that music and those old hymns mixed with new stuff, old stuff, and that's where I found some real discovery. And that was a feeling, and most musicians will tell you it's kind of a, an out of body experience, or a flow, or this different consciousness, right? And that's a feeling I chased until 2 years ago.
Wow. Wow.
I spent a decade in Nashville. Really, I would tell people all the time, I was like, yeah, there's about a handful of those feelings, those out of body experiences a year, maybe you can count on one hand. And I know musicians would understand what I'm saying. And it's, anytime you're in that flow state where it's just like, you're just stepping out of yourself, you're getting out of reality, and you're playing with the magic. That's what it is. And you're playing. And I think as I'm starting to get more in tune with it, it's that subconscious coming through that heart, that feeling, the heart mixed with the stomach, mixed with the head, and man, opening up that channel, just didn't know what to call it and didn't know how to really source it. But man, no, my journey in music, I studied jazz piano at University of North Texas. I was not the best sight reader, but I had to get in on a classical audition. So I played classical music for 2 years. Wow. And then I played jazz the whole time, but I came from a church background, rock and roll. It was country music, blues, gospel, and the contemporary Christian era, which is this beautiful 1990s thing that now it's turned into this pop LA, but we love Jesus type of thing. And I love all of that mixed together. And just
I have a good story. I have a good story for you. Do you know Brian Duncan? Remember he had those songs like "Love Takes Time," "Please Be Kind." Yeah, he's like Dove Award winner. I mean, whatever. He had a lot of songs. And I did some video work for him a couple of years ago. I don't know, probably 5 or 6 years ago. But I met with him. I was supposed to be a half-hour meeting, and then it ended up being 3 hours. We talked about all things. And he smoked 12 cigarettes in the entire meeting.
That's a lot of tobacco.
Oh man. And what he did, the reason I know exactly it was 12, he smoke them down to just a little bit, and he put them on the table that we're sitting at, and he lined them all up. And I thought, man, this is great, man. The guy that I listen to a lot singing those contemporary Christian songs is sitting here keeping it real with me, smoking some cigarettes and grand old time. But I know that era, the same era you're talking about. It's music is so important, and that's where knowing the importance of music, we can see people take that and influence for ulterior motives, or we can see the influence of music used to liberate and elevate mankind in their consciousness. And so how did you go from church music, DC talk, I know what's going down that route to stepping into Nashville and playing the honky. I assume maybe you played the honky tonks and played that circuit and did that.
I played all of them.
Yeah.
All of them.
Mike, I used to have a client, Hutton Hotel in the west end of Nashville off Broadway there. And I would go, oh, awesome. Our kids. Oh, awesome. Okay. Sounds good, baby. Bye. They just fed some deer some apples, so they're pretty bummed. Oh, cool. All right, baby. Bye. Oh man. But playing those I'd be at the hockey. I would go down to Nashville all the time, and just loved being in there, sitting and listening to all types of music. But that said, very not a lot of consciousness in that. Let me just put it like that, right? Okay. So, and I don't want to demean any of that because I freaking loved it, and I could sit in honky tonks all day long and to hear the best musicians in the world play for free. It's ridiculous and amazing, but there's not that much consciousness. So, my great question that I'm taking forever to ask is, how did you go from church music, classical, the breadth of music, to go into Nashville, try to fit into that box to break out and to be where you are right now?
Yeah, the level of consciousness is fine on certain levels, and I will say, I mean, there's a really good juxtaposition between a church pew and a bar stool, and people have found truth and the Lord and their path on both. And I know there's a couple of really great country songs out there that speak on that.
That's cool.
But that non-thinking music is a great thing because it does exactly what you want it to do. Is people just forget, just, hey man, everything gets let go. And that's where most of it stops, and I think it's great. It's just the part where it's kind of if that's the end, it's kind of a letdown when it does stop. Like, well, great, I forgot about my troubles for a while. I wake up in the morning and they're right there to greet me. So I think that's why I get to where I'm at right now by going, well, let's dig deeper, digging deeper as a creative. But yeah, I started playing with a guy named Dan Roberts when I was 17, and he was an old cowboy singer-songwriter. He wrote Beaches of Cheyenne for Garth Brooks. Oh, wow. He wrote Fever for Garth Brooks. He was on the world tour with Garth Brooks, where he did not have an opener on the Garth Brooks world tour. Did not have an opener. They had these cowboy singer-songwriters that would sit around a campfire and sing songs, and that's how they opened the show on the world tour. And he did that. He moved to Texas to get his daughter treatment for brain cancer. And that was Fort Worth, Texas. And so that's where we met at a local church there. And so I was playing honky tonks at 17, 18, and I thought it was pretty cool. I was like, I knew I loved music. I knew I wanted to do music. I just didn't know how to make a living. So I said, okay, great. I'm going to go to college, study music, and go to Nashville.
Wow. Amazing, man. Amazing. So where are you at right now in your music career?
Musically, it's been an adjustment. The last 2 years, I moved back to Texas. I sold my house in Nashville and decided to pick another path that would give me at least a chance to see another path. For me, it was tunnel vision for 10 years. I was in tunnel vision. My identity was there. I was passionate. I would get hot and cold a little bit. It's obviously, you've been in the music or entertainment world. It's definitely a brutal place. Yeah. Now, but yeah, now in my music career, it is going and taking a step back and going, well, hey, I don't have to write about I don't have to be commercially viable. I can, but maybe there's more. Maybe there's more than just being commercially viable. Yeah. Not to say that, commercial songs aren't important, and not to say that, spiritual songs and worship songs aren't important. But there's just so much. I mean, come on. We hear ads all day long with some EDM blast and some sound effect, and man, just stripping it down to the piano and the vocal. For me, that's what I do best. I took the opportunity in quarantine to do it all alone, and I thought, well, this is what I did during quarantine. I wrote, recorded, put out a song.
Wow. It's amazing. It is. It's amazing. So, where would you like, no qualification, not qualifications, but no qualifying this answer. What would you love to do with your music? Wave that magic wand. What is happening with you and your gift to the world?
Oh, I see. Just being a part of some bigger gatherings, whether it be a conference, whether it be some kind of workshop, some kind of, stadium tour where they're just, I mean, I think there's no question there's a huge boom in self-help conferences.
Yes.
And let's get you guys on my online course to blah, 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 this to get you here where you want to go. And the truth is where you want to go is where they want to go is to get right with themselves first before they go out.
Yes.
And that's what the song's about. I'd love to share the song with 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 people and just have a little breakdown and share the song, one song and out. And I'll see you later, guys. I just do that.
I love it.
And Lucas, and what I saw too we I did an online workshop, and this was right as Kyle wrote this song, and it was a men's workshop. So it was an opportunity for men to come together and to start to talk about real things.
Wow.
Like talking about, okay, if we want real relationships, we get to talk about real shit. So as we're going through this at the end, we put on Kyle's song and everyone closed their eyes, and you could just see, the depth at which people could feel all of it. They could just feel, yes, like this is the journey I'm on. These are the things that I've experienced. This is my expectation of being a man. This is what I've been told it's supposed to mean. But that's not ultimately what I want. I've realized that there's more than that. I've realized that there's more to happiness than accomplishment, and that I don't have to prove myself anymore. There's nothing left to prove. So these are some of the things that I want. It's like, you see the smile come on their face and the tear fall down to realize, man, I'm okay. I can be myself.
Yes.
And that's enough. And it's powerful. It's powerful. And it's something I think as this movement starts to happen of men stepping into their true authenticity and who they really are, us being able to give permission to that, right? To be permission to just be ourselves. That's it.
Yeah, that's right. Brother, when you're sharing that, it reminds me of my favorite documentary is called The Matrix. No, wait, it's not a documentary though. Shoot. But the most powerful moment for me in that movie, and most likely for many, is when he's about to run, when the agents are chasing him, and he turns around and says, no. And when he turns around and says no, and they shoot at him, and he puts his hand out and the bullets stop, and he looks at it and then drops it. That's what I feel is what's happening with men and all humanity right now, is we've been pushed down this route of, I must fear this, I must be this, I'm in these confines. And you're like, wait a minute, no. Turn around, look at it like that which I've been afraid of is nothing. I will look at it from all facets. And this is what I love about humanity is if we can take a step out of the flow and that energy that keeps us moving down this like pipeline and we can't stop. When we take a step out of that, we look at ourselves like a diamond and like, wow, okay, this facet, this cut reflects this light. But if I flip it upside down, and we start to play with our own reality. Like that is the purest freedom that we are here to, I think, experience, is look at it all, play with it all. We are not that which we play with. We are not our thoughts. We are not our songs. We are not our words. We get to play with the gifts that come out of us and look at it. And I think it's just so beautiful what you got to see, what's happening. And Kyle, with your gifts, allowing people to look at the diamond a little differently.
Yeah, and that's so true. And Zach has a beautiful way of bringing a group of men together and diffusing all kind of judgments. And that's one of the strengths of his coaching and his power. And it's like, if we were all going to get men together and, do a warrior chant and go out and accomplish things, I think we've all done that, and we've all tried that, and we've all been told to do that. And we're told to do that every day through advertising, marketing. You're not enough. You need to do this. You're not enough. You need to do this. So it's like, okay, well, if we come in with closing our eyes and listening to a song and that unlocks the power that you wanted your whole life, would you do it? I would. I did through some training. Wow, 6 months out of my life did a lot. I mean, wonders, like you were saying. You're just like, okay, I'm listening now.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's this piece too of getting our identity so caught up in what we do and what we accomplish that I feel like it pulls us away from who we actually are.
Yeah.
And when we're doing that, it's this ever moving target because it's not even a goal that we created in the first place. And I know what happened to me is I climbed that mountain and I got there and I realized, shit, this is not it. And that was what really, that was what started for me and really traveling deep to understand what that meant. And for me, I'm all for living an abundant life. I'm all for like, have the experiences, have all that you want. But if you're not enough without it, you never will be with it.
That's right.
So strip that away from yourself of needing to feel like you need that to be worthy. And when you can do that, then you can actually enjoy the things that you have in your life.
Yes.
Because you're not defined by them then.
Dude, that is like step one, right? I mean, just free. If everyone's listening, what Zach just said, if you're not enough without it, you will not be enough with it. Welcome to Reality 101. And I said on a podcast that actually aired today, and I'm not sure when this episode will air, but I said, it's funny. The very first truth as we exit the womb is that we will die. That is the very first truth of our existence. We come in, the very first truth before how are we going to do in school? What are our giftings and talents? And the very first truth we enter this world is we will die. And what will you do between the moment you exit womb and the moment you enter earth? That is really what we get to play with. And yet people spend so much time fighting against truth number one. You're going to die. Especially I will trigger some people right now, but the mask wearing culture is fighting against truth one. Truth one is you will die. We will die. Stop fighting against that which is inevitable, but live, which is not inevitable. And I love the movie Braveheart when he says all men die, but not all men truly live. And it is time that we in this reality break out of the confines of trying to fight against truth. How about we start integrating truth? How about we start looking and playing with truth? How about, like Kyle, like you said, like, look, we could list the men of the 80s and 90s that were pushed to all of culture as men. They were on steroids, so their muscles are freaking huge. They all had, I was watching a Chuck Norris movie yesterday while I was working out in the garage, and he's like shooting Uzis. Like it was so ridiculous. It was so ridiculous. I'm like, this is what men were, shown as, like, just kind of laissez-faire. I have what it takes. I've not done really any work. I just came with this gift. And that could not be further from the truth. The truth is, a man is the safest man is the man that has strength, yes, but takes the mask off and allows other people to feel safe. Not the one that has the mask on and is like, I will hurt you if you don't, whatever.
Yeah.
And so you both are an embodiment of the beauty of humanity and the beauty of masculinity defined in its truest form is that we can talk about anything and everything, whenever, with whomever, wherever, whatever, and not get triggered, man. We just be.
Yeah. And it's allowing yourself to be seen and embodying vulnerability, embodying intimacy, and going, like, I'm going to share with other men, not only my weaknesses, but my successes, because I don't feel like I'm not going to blab about them out of pride, but I'm going to say, hey man, like, I'm really proud of this. What do you think? Like, or, hey, and that is where the healing does happen. I mean, you can get that mask, that alcohol mask, that girl mask, that dating mask, that relationship mask, where we seek that intimate level. I've seen it just crumble, and then you really do. Then you become the Terminator. You know, you become the Terminator, and so you're just like, yeah, whatever, dude.
Yeah.
You know, hit me with whatever.
You know, what's interesting is my guess it would be a worldview, but I believe every single person on planet Earth just wants to be loved and affirmed. They just want to be, man, you're okay. You're okay. And men who crave that most, I think why they crave it most, I think men and women desire it equally, but men crave it most is because they were robbed of that, just being held for simply being, just being loved for what. Who cares how many points you score? Who gives a shit how what your grades are? That literally means nothing in this reality. Zero. You know what matters in this reality? Can you receive a hug? Yeah. Can you give a hug? Can you receive someone looking in your eyes without getting weird? I go into AL, talking about ALA, and I'll never forget. First time you stare at someone's eyes and they're like, don't move, don't break away, don't don't make a joke. This isn't a joke. Just stare into someone's eyes, and I'm like having contortions. My whole body's like. I literally physically, my body was like convulsing. It was so bizarre. I was so uncomfortable connecting with people. I was so scared. I was so afraid. And then they said, how are you reacting? And I'm thinking, I'm reacting. My body's physically moving apart from my mind saying, stop. Yeah, I could not do it. I'm responding well. And he said, your uncomfortableness has nothing to do with the other person because you don't even know that person. This person's done nothing to you ever to make you feel uncomfortable. Why you feel uncomfortable is you bringing what you perceive to them. And I was like, what? Oh, like that. And that was, I think, hour one, right? I mean, that's the beginning.
That's the first one.
That's exercise one. Man, it's amazing. And so like men craving to be held and loved and affirmed, and that's why I think feminine energy is so important, because feminine receives, masculine, takes and gives. And when men have that wound to receive love because we're hit, I mean, I will say this for everyone listening. It's not I've talked about this before, but hitting children, spanking, giving it a different word than what it is. And the origin of spanking, the etymology of spanking actually means to make a horse run faster. You strike the animal to make it move. It's a sickness that we've accepted as humans teaching and treating innocent life forms in this way. And on top of that, we tell them we do it in love, which is the furthest thing. But men, when we come in as children to this world, we're open, and all of a sudden, boom, we get hurt and we get scared and we get intimidated and we stop. We learn very early on to not be open to receiving, because receiving hurts. Receiving is pain, but we still crave that love. So we go and double down on our masculinity to go take, conquer. I'm going to go let's go get some chicks or whatever. And it's all that taking. We cannot satiate the lack of vulnerability to open back up until we heal and say, brothers, sisters, humans, God, love, light, truth. Like, I receive that I might give. I love that I might be loved. It's a reciprocation that once we figure out how to heal ourselves, and we can go out and help other people heal just by default of not being a threat to them, not intimidating them, just being a safe person. Like, hey, bro, I can't change you or fix you, but I'm just going to be, and you can be. Thanks, man, because I'm tired.
There's so much freedom in that. There's nothing sadder to me than seeing a group of guys sitting in a circle talking about and objectifying women, talking about sports, like bullshitting each other, and you can see the sadness in their eyes. All they really want is to actually connect.
Yes.
But they think they can't, because they think that they can't relate or they won't be accepted. And I honestly, man, it needs to change, where we only show 20 to 30% of who we are. It's all out of this. It's all out of this fear of not being enough. If you know this or that about me, then I won't be accepted. I won't be worthy of connection. That's shame. Like it's shame that we feel, and that's all shame is. Shame is just a fear of being disconnected. And if we allow ourselves to know that it is a fundamental need to feel a sense of belonging, but if we're not being our truest sense, our truest self, that will never happen.
That's right.
We end up trying to be someone that we're not, and then we get lost because we try to be who we feel like others want us to be so we can be accepted. So what actually is what is keeping us from being connected is a fear of disconnection.
Yes.
And then, when we talk about consciousness, what is consciousness? Consciousness is just bringing awareness to the things that we feel and experience in a way that we can then zoom back and say, this isn't actually even what I want.
Right.
This isn't what I want. Who gave me this goal? Who gave me this belief? And when we can realize that and bring that type of empowerment,
right,
it opens up everything.
It's interesting. Kyle, you probably, Peter said, be sober and be vigilant because your adversary, the devil, walketh about like a lion, seeking whom he may devour. And growing up, it's like, don't drink, don't, keep a sound mind, all those things. But what I really believe what he's saying is, and Zach, to affirm what you're saying, says, first of all, devil means accuser. So the first thing that fear does is accuse, and it creates fear. Accusations create fear. And then we freeze, and then we can't move. So it says be sober. That just means be alert, be aware. Like Zach, you're saying, like detach, and that's consciousness. So sobriety is consciousness, not in the human form of alcohol and substance, but sobriety is then awareness of all that is. Be sober and be vigilant. Keep your head on a swivel, man. Like be aware and know your surroundings and know your situational awareness. Because your adversary, now what is adversary? Is that which wants to keep you from awareness and being present. Your adversary, the accuser, who accuses, well, you didn't do right. It's the same thing that we are raised as children of, get the switch, or I'm going to take my belt. Like, what the fuck? I'm just a kid, man. I'm just literally trying to explore this reality, but that's what happens. So your adversary, the devil, the accuser, walketh about like a lion, seeking whom he may devour. So I want to just land on this word may. I may or may not, depending on how I am able to stand in my own power. Meaning, right now in humanity, I think this disruption in the force, or whatever we want to call this global disruption, is allowing people to break out for a second and say, whoa, you may not come back into my space. Wait, what? I'm a sovereign being. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm not broken. I'm not wrong. I'm not ugly. I am beautifully me. And you may not accuse me any longer, because I will heal within myself. And so, man, I get fired up. It's time for an awakening. It's time for brothers like us and sisters. I mean, this is not a man thing, but what beautiful unity is. Even David says in Psalms how beautiful it is for brothers to dwell in unity. There's something about seeing men unite and heal in that gentle embrace that makes the females feel like, oh, okay, it's safe.
Yeah.
It's safe. We're all safe.
Yeah. I'm going to speak on music because that's what I know. And I will say, to piggyback on that, when men sit with a guitar down and sing, magic happens. And there are thousands of women that flock to that new artist. Oh my God, he's incredible. And to all the men singer-songwriters out there, all those guys, all you young boys picking up a guitar, you have a lot of power when you express your musical creativity. And I don't know if it should be obvious, but I'm 35 and I remember it every day. Like, oh yeah, when I'm vulnerable with my musical gifts, big things happen for them and me. And so that, I think what you're saying made me think of that. Okay, when that's why it's so crazy. And I've been in Nashville. Songwriter rounds happen every night of the week, and I would go and I would listen and I'd go, wow, there was like 1 or 2 good songs that night. The rest of them trash, you know. But you would always hear it when somebody would get up, and as soon as they started singing and the heads would turn, you're going, boom, there it is. That, wow, okay, hang on. Let me put down my beer. Let me put down my fork and turn and look. So to realize that power, and I will speak as a man, it's not just so you can get a girlfriend or get that hottie to answer your text back. Does that happen? Yes, it does. Do both sides get intertwined? I wrote a song called did she fall for the man or did she fall for the music? Or did she just get lost in the music?
That's good.
And women are beautifully flowing beings that soak up music. Thank God for women. Otherwise, nobody would listen to music.
That's true.
And, you know, they're beautiful flowing beings, and they just let it come in and they experience it. But yeah, dating can be that way. Did she like me? Did she just like the flow of the music? Either way, it doesn't matter. Showing your creative heart through a song. Yes. Guys out there, hey, it's very powerful. Use it wisely.
That's brilliant, Kyle, and so spot on. And Lucas, what you were saying about addiction and finding ways to cope, and I'm seeing it so much now with everything that's happening. And I think it was Johan Hari that said this, but it's so spot on that the opposite of addiction is not sobriety; it's human connection.
Yes, that's right. Yes, that's right.
It's like when we think about the things that do happen with men, where we end up going south in have these stats like men are 4 times more likely to commit suicide than women. We're twice as likely to develop alcoholism or addiction, and it's because we've been taught that we're not supposed to express the things we feel, so we push them down and they get stuck, and we don't know what's happening, and so if you're doing that, you can't find a way out. But when you do that and you can come together and you can look another man in the eyes and realize that doesn't mean war, that just means I see you and I'm with you and I know what you're going through and let's do this together. That's it, man. When that unlocks for a guy, it just is a total game changer, because that's actually where our power comes from. It doesn't come from the push. And that unhealthy masculine that's in our world, that is what starts wars.
Yes.
That's what starts wars. But any war out there starts first with the war within here. So that's where we have to heal it. We have to heal the war within here if we want to heal any war outside of us.
Thank you so much, Kyle. Thank you so much, Zach, for joining. That was fun. And I look forward to many more conversations. Everyone, thank you so much for listening. Look, guys, this is the time to rise up inside yourself, to find the love, to seek inside and explore yourself. Where are you afraid? Where are you angry? Where are you being held back by limiting beliefs? Where are you being held back from painful traumas of your past that you don't want to look at? This is the time right now, during 2020, the year of clear vision, to go in and liberate your own soul, because love, you must know, trust, believe, and receive that love, the universal law of love, is waiting for you and walking with you in that journey. You're not alone. You never have been alone. And this is your time to be free. My name is Lucas Mack. This is the Golden Rule Revolution, where inspiration and purpose come from treating people like people and nothing less. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I'll talk to you on the next episode.